Hello and welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Today, we're going to break down Chet Holmgren and an outstanding 16 point, 13 rebound, 7 block game from last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was a crazy game where the Thunder somehow came back from down 10 with like 2 minutes left. I was watching this while my wife was in the room, and with 2 minutes left, I just looked back at her and I was like, how the fuck did the Thunder win this game? They did, in large part due to a couple of enormous plays that Chet Holmgren made throughout the course of the game. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about Chet. We're going to talk about some of the ways that he impacts the game defensively, even if he doesn't block a shot or knock down a three or get a dunk. We're going to talk about some of the things that make him special in terms of his ability to grab and go on the break and create instant offense. And finally, we're just going to talk about his defensive positioning and just what makes him such an incredible defender at such a young age. Now, having only played 2 regular season NBA games, Chet was a guy that I knew that I wanted to do a video on early in the season, just to kind of break down what makes him so interesting and intriguing as a prospect. And boy, we got a great one against the Cavs. Remember, this is a YouTube exclusive video. This will not go up on the podcast feed. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments who you want to see next. I will be doing Jalen Johnson at some point because somebody actually asked me in the comments to do Jalen Johnson. His little run to start the season has been really interesting. So I swear I actually do really take these recommendations very seriously. So please let me know who you want to see. Until then, let's talk about Chet. So first play of the game, and it already starts. This is a fun first action from Cleveland here. Chet Holmgren, for people that maybe have not seen Chet play before, is this guy here. Big, 7 foot tall guy, 7'6" wingspan. He is guarding Evan Mobley. We're just going to let this action run through. And what I want you to look at, is pretty fun set by the Cavs to start this game, just to draw it up real quick. You're going to see Okoro come this way. You're going to see Mobley come up and kind of settle here right at the left elbow. Donovan Mitchell is going to throw a sweet little entry pass here to Evan Mobley. And then Okoro is going to come back up and try to set a screen back door for Donovan here. Fun little action, fun little set. And then I believe that what you're also going to see at some point is this is out of a horn set. So Max Strus is going to set up here and he's going to filter through the play, where again, as we talked about in the video where we broke down Cade Cunningham, what you're trying to do in a set like this is you're trying to put a lot of pressure on the backside help man, which in this case is going to end up being Shea, who is currently behind Isaac Okoro in this action. So let's run it through real quick. Then you can see what I'm talking about. There's the first part. There's the entry. Here is Okoro coming up to set that back screen. You can already see Max starting to filter through the play to the opposite corner. And what I want to point out particularly here is I think the Cavs do a really good job of guarding, or the Thunder do a really good job of guarding this. But B, what I love about Chet, particularly on defense, are 2 things. His anticipation. His anticipation as a help defender is absolutely outstanding. B, I think his positioning in drop coverage is, for a player as young as he is, absolutely elite. Now, there are some little footwork mistakes that we'll get to, and I thought that the most fun part of this game to break down was probably the cat and mouse game between Donovan Mitchell coming off of high ball screen actions and Chet trying to decide how deep to drop. Does he want to play more of a catch drop? Does he want to actually full scale drop? Donovan trying to judge, okay, do I drive and go into his body? Do I, try and pull up if he gets caught on his back foot? a lot of different things to break down here. But for the most part, I think Chet is absolutely elite in terms of his positioning. And you can see this here. What I love here is that he's right in touch position to where if Max Strus comes up and decides to pull up, that's going to be a contested shot. I think Chet probably blocks that. However, he's in really good position right now to also be able to backtrack. And if Strus throws a pass, be it a pocket pass, be it a lob to Evan Mobley, Chet is going to be in a perfect spot here to be able to contest. So as we run this through, you can see there's the touch. He's right in touch distance where he is able to handle everything Max is going to give. He's going to be able to handle everything Evan is going to give him too, because he's in perfect position. He has 1 foot there, 1 foot there. Chet's hips are very fluid. He's going to be able to drop his hips here if he has to, if he sees Max try and get downhill. It's just perfect positioning here, in my opinion, by Chet Holmgren. It results in a turnover to start the game, and it results in a turnover because the Cavs end up being a little bit rushed in this action because of what Chet is presenting them. So just a really, really fun little action to start this game where, again, Chet did not get any sort of statistical impact here, but you damn well better believe that Chet played an enormous impact in how that play was defended. And it's very small and simple things, but it's the simple things that a lot of guys don't do. And that he already at, if I remember correctly, he might be 21 now, already has down at the very least, like a well above average level for an NBA big, if not a very, very high level. All but the elite, I would say, probably aren't quite as good at that as Chet. So next, you're going to see here, Josh Giddey's going to miss a layup, and now Chet is running back in transition. Evan Mobley is going to grab and go here. And we're going to see one of the things that I think Chet just does unbelievably well. A lot was made of how skinny Chet is, and it's undeniably true. Chet is very skinny, but when your fundamentals are as good as Chet Holmgren's are, you can stand to be skinny and still be a primary rim protector when guys try to drive into you. So what I want you to notice here is this is where Chet loads up right here to start his contest. He's going to get as high as humanly possible with his hands. He's going to make it so that he is a very difficult player to finish over the top of. And then he's going to retreat. Instead of jumping into Evan Mobley's body, remember his takeoff point was like right here. He's jumping backward, but staying straight up. And look at how high his hands are. Look at how difficult this is to finish over the top of. These are just about damn near perfect verticality, defensive fundamentals. I want to call out that I think Chet has always had this. Like he's always been great in this regard, going back to high school. But particularly, I think that Gonzaga does a better job of teaching this, the principle of verticality, than any college in college basketball. They do an absolutely fantastic job of making sure that these guys are able to stay vertical without fouling. This is textbook from Chet Holmgren. This is exactly what you want to do. This is why he is already a great defender, even by NBA standards. And on top of it, one of the things you hear some of the former players talk about, a lot of former players are very skeptical of young guys when they enter the league. If you notice, they are not skeptical of Chet, really. They really like Chet. The reason is he keeps coming back for more. There are going to be plays in this game where he's going to get hit. We're going to talk about them, but he's going to keep coming back for more. And that matters. The fact that he's never going to quit on the play, the fact that he's never going to stop trying to protect the rim, trying to contest these actions, that's what makes Chet as effective as he is. He's going to block this shot from Evan Mobley. Jalen Williams is going to get the rebound, and they're going to grab and go. Here we go. Rebound. 8:30 left in the first quarter. And now we're going to get the grab and go from Chet just to see how much of a marginal advantage this is when he can grab and go on the break. This one, he ends up not finishing, unfortunately. But look at the stress that the defense is immediately under with Chet grabbing and going. So we're at 20 seconds left on the shot clock. He just grabbed this ball 4 seconds ago. And the Cavs have to try and pick up in transition. They have to figure out, okay, where are all of our responsibilities? So here, they do a pretty good job of picking it up, I think. But the result is that because they're scrambling, they maybe aren't necessarily adhering to their defensive fundamentals as strongly as they possibly could. I would imagine, at the very least, and maybe we'll see this a couple more times as we go through this tape, that on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander middle ball screens, the Cavs, especially when Josh Giddey is on the wing here, I would imagine the Cavs wanted Isaac Okoro to like really help in and really dig in. But because Chet is able to start the break so quickly and scramble, they're scrambling. They're trying to get their bearings, right? So here, no real help on the elbow. Evan Mobley has to step up because there's no help on the elbow because Shai is one of the 7 or 8 best players in the NBA. And look at this laneway that it leaves for Chet. Again, doesn't finish it. I mean, you can make a case that maybe the pass is a little bit off, but Chet needs to finish this, obviously. A, look at where he's high pointing the ball here. I mean, just ridiculous, as always with Chet. So long. But B, you'd expect him to finish this, but I just wanted to put that on there just to show people the stress that Chet puts on the defense basically from the moment he touches the ball and grabs defensive rebounds and decides to grab and go. This is another contested rebound here over Evan Mobley, and now he's going to be the trailer coming behind the play. And I mean, just that deceleration is absolutely ridiculous for a big. He is 7 foot tall with a 7'6" wingspan. He's going to trail. I want to call out something that the Thunder have really started. It's very clear they have told Jalen Williams to do this because it happens multiple times throughout this game. They're having Jalen Williams basically set like a middle screen here against whoever is guarding Chet Holmgren in order to force kind of a peel switch at the end of the day. Jalen Williams is a really good screener. I want to give him a lot of credit here, but I want to give a lot of credit to the Thunder staff as well. This is a really, really smart decision because Chet is so skilled with the ball in his hands, and because he's so big, he's a mismatch nightmare for guards and wings to have to manage. Bigs, I think, are going to be able to manage him if you're a little bit mobile as a big. I thought Evan Mobley did like a pretty good job with him throughout the course of the game. But when you set this little screen here in the middle of the court and you give Chet just that little bit of an advantage, it's almost like a drag screen it's like an off-ball drag in transition for Chet to be able to get this mismatch here. And just watch him decelerate on this play. This is to be able to spin like that off of contact at that big. That is not easy. There's a reason that a lot of guys don't do it. And he goes length extension finish. Beautiful stuff. But I love what the Thunder are very clearly telling Jalen Williams, somebody else. They're like, hey, if Chet is the trailer, set like a little mini drag in transition because we might be able to catch him. This one here, I put this one on just because I wanted people to see just, it's going to take a minute for Chet physically. There are going to be moments where he looks like he's getting shoved around and battered around, right? Like, look at this one. Evan Mobley, like, kind of comes into his chest. Like, he ends up getting, like, slid all the way back here. But I also wanted to put this one in because in my opinion, this is a little bit more on Jalen Williams not staying in front of Isaac Okoro. But B, this is where I think people will try and catch Chet early in his career. Probably going to try and catch him on pump fakes and up fakes going up toward the rim. I think you're going to be able to get Chet that way. I think you're going to be able to try and take advantage of his aggressive help defense in that way. He's always going to want to step up. He's always going to want to contest. This is still a really tough finish, obviously. Again, look at Chet. Even on this contest, look at where he takes off right here. Look at him. He's going backward. The body is flying backward here, from here back to here. Arms are a little bit forward. I think he is a little bit lucky he didn't get called for a foul here, but because his momentum is always going backward, I think that it's going to be a little bit easier for him to avoid fouls in that way. Next up, Chet trailing in transition, and this is just a catch and shoot three, right? This is the threat that Chet Holmgren is going to provide for this guy right here, particularly. I saw earlier today, shout out Nikias Duncan, one of my favorite people. Nikias looked through 2 games, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to this point has 54 drives to the basket, according to Second Spectrum. That's not just the most in the league. It's the most in the league by 18. I think he said that Luka is number 2 right now with 36. This guy is always trying to get downhill. Shai wants to drive to the rim and try and create opportunities, and he's the best guy in the league at it right now. But if you have to help off of Chet Holmgren to cut off this drive, because Shai can beat his guy off the bounce at any point, which he can, you're going to be forcing this help in from Evan Mobley, and Shai's going to be able to hit a wide open kick out. And Chet can knock these down. Chet's going to make you pay if you leave him open from 3. Money. Too easy. That is way too easy for the Thunder. Next up here, getting into the second quarter now. And again, just beautiful verticality there from Chet. This is like a pretty simple kind of action here off of the screen. Just going to see, I believe that's Karis LeVert. Going to go around Mobley, and then he's going to shoot back up to get the inbounds pass as the safety valve. And I just want you to watch Chet just get ready to peel and go, right? He's going to peel right off of Evan Mobley. I hate that Evan is just standing here like in the dunker spot, kind of waiting, because this is easy for Chet, to be honest with you. Like, this is just easy. He is going to be a great rim protector from day one in the NBA because he is so long and his fundamentals are as good as they are, and his anticipation. Look at where he decides to take his drop step to help right there. That's his drop step to load up to help. And Karis is just entering the lane now. This is why Chet Holmgren is successful as a rim protector right here. He gets to spots early. He gets to spots before guys get there. He beats them. Really, really hard to beat him to a spot. And then also the hand-eye coordination is absolutely tremendous. I mean, Karis is going to try and change the angle on him. And Chet is always focusing on the ball. He's got his eyes on the ball here. It's blurry, but you can see He's trying to get the ball there, and he catches him with the block. Unbelievable stuff. Just unbelievable stuff. Next up, inbounds to Mobley. And this is a deep drop. Let's watch this piece of this play first because Chet's about to go down and do something on offense as well. But inbounds here to Mobley. He drives, forces Chet backwards. That's why this is such a deep drop, right? A, look at Jalen Williams get around this screen. Look at the tight angle he takes to get around. Look at how he drops his hips, gets lower than Evan Mobley's waist to try and fly around. This is absolutely textbook in terms of getting around screens. I digress, but this is absolutely how you trail and chase in actions like this. And again, Evan takes off right there. That's his takeoff point. Chet has beaten him to the spot already, right? He's already there. He's ready and waiting. Came close that time, but he beat him to the spot. Good contested possession there on the glass by Chet. Now you're going to see just a little drag in transition for Jalen Williams. And Chet is going to get over to the corner. And now we're going to see again what makes him so special as a driver. I mean, that step through is so hard to guard. It is so hard to get past Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is 7 foot tall. He is as fluid and mobile as you will find for a big. There's a reason that this guy right here was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year last year. He is elite on that end. For Chet to already be able to throw a quick between the legs crossover double move here to open up Evan Mobley's, to beat him before Evan Mobley can open up his hips, right? So look at Evan's shoulder, still turned. Chet has him at this point, right? Evan is fast enough to where he can recover. But again, you're now going to see the stop. Going to plant on that right foot right there. As he sees Evan is going to try and chase and get back into the play tough here. And he's just going to step through and it's going to be a foul. That is ridiculous from Chet Holmgren. This one here, it's a little blurry, so I'll point out that Chet is right there. Evan Mobley is trailing this play. Isaac Okoro has the ball. That is Isaiah Joe here. Isaiah is a lot of things. He's turned into a great bench player. Definitely still a little bit on the skinny side defensively. Can get blown through a little bit. And just look at the point where, again, Chet is going to recognize that he has to go over and help. He's got his eyes on the ball already. And now he's just hunting, right? Chet is just hunting to try and get to this shot. The great dump off pass by Okoro. He sees that Chet is getting ready to load up to try and block his shot. Once Chet turns his back, that's the trigger for Isaac Okoro. This is a dump off now. Chet has turned his back to Evan Mobley. This should be an easy bucket. This should be simple. But even as Chet jumps, what I want you to see is how quick his second jump is. He's going to go up and he's going to go up again. And he's going to get him. And now he's starting the break again, right? And now you're scrambling. And it's an easy three for Case and Wallace, who ends up wide open in the corner, right? This is stuff that guys who are 7 foot tall do not do. Quick second jump, rebound, grab and go. And because he's grabbing and going, Evan Mobley is all the way back here. He's the last player back. And now he can pressure the defense. He can drive into 4 guys and try and force them to collapse on him. And I love that Kaysen just runs to the corner, right? Kaysen, he's here. He's running to the corner. He also has, if Strus decides to help in, he has this to Aaron Wiggins. I mean, this is really not. So, like, I understand why this ends up working out this way. In my opinion now, I don't know necessarily what the Cavs' general rules are in transition. In my opinion, Max Strus needs to follow Case and Wallace to the corner. I get why he doesn't, because he thinks that he has this man back already and that this man is going to take Case and Wallace to the corner. But when you have Chet Holmgren, who is as big and as long and is going to cover ground as quickly as he does against Donovan Mitchell here, who is strong but small. And I'm not sure who that is. Just a little blurry. Might be Dean Wade. In my opinion, once Max sees that he has these 2 guys here, I think he has to run to the corner with Kaysen. It's a tough ask. Like, I'm asking a lot in transition, in heavy scramble situations. These are not easy. This is like super high level stuff. But because he doesn't, and because of the pressure that Chet is putting on the defense, I wouldn't even consider this like a full scale. Like, I don't even think this is a mistake on Strus's part necessarily. It's just that I think that realistically he has enough time here to be able to get to the corner, right? Like, this is where he sees Chet gathering, and he sees that, I think that's Dean Wade. Somebody yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong. This is where Max, I think, can get to the corner. And I think that he sees that both of these guys here are trying to load up to stop Chet. This is where he needs to get to the corner. And then if it's a kick out here, you have to hope that Dean Wade can get out on like a pseudo, like off ball X out kind of situation. But nobody follows Case into the corner. And that's a wide open 3 built entirely on the back of a blocked shot by Chet Holmgren on one end, then a defensive rebound, then him bringing the ball down the court, shoving it down the defense's throat, and forcing all sorts of collapsing help. That is the advantage, the marginal advantage Chet Holmgren is going to bring you every single time that he is on the court and he's able to grab and go like that. That's what makes centers who can grab and go so effective in today's NBA. Next. This one here. This is what I think teams are going to start to do a little bit more often with Chet now. So, high ball screen, Chet, little bit higher in the drop because it's this guy, Donovan Mitchell, who has the ball. Donovan is a pull-up threat anytime that he has the ball. He has to be ready for a pull-up. He also has to be ready for a drive because Donovan is a physical driver. What I think teams are going to start to do when you have guys like Donovan Mitchell, I think that they are going to, instead of trying to jump into Chet Holmgren, I think they are going to drive into Chet Holmgren. So look at where Donovan is going to first make contact with Chet. It's going to be like right, Trying to go frame by frame here. I think it's even like, let's call it there, because I think he makes contact like just a split second before this. And look at where Chet gets back to, right? Chet gets driven back all the way here. So he goes from essentially the bottom of the dotted circle here all the way to inside. His feet are like underneath the basket here. This is what I think teams are going to do to Chet. They're going to try and use their frame to dig into his body before they take off and then ask him to try and block shots. That's a great way to be able to try and take advantage of him because he is so solid and so strong. Once you get in the air and once he is able to mirror his jump and use his verticality to be able to contest your shot. Special defender, man. Special defender here. Evan Mobley's on the block. They're going to send a double. This is the point where I realized this was a bad idea because Shea is coming here. This is going to be a closeout. Shea is a 7-foot wingspan. This is probably a block. I think he can cover this ground before Okoro gets the shot off. You will see where this is going. Yeah. Then Jalen gets back, and it's just like, oh no, what are we? Why are we attacking Chet Holmgren? Why are we attacking Chet? I love the stunt here from Shea. He's able to get back out to Dean Wade. Dean's going to throw this ball back in. Look at Jalen Williams. He's never quitting on the play. I love that. He gets there. And there's just no shot. That's a 0%er right there against this guy. That is a 0%er against that guy at the basket. You got no shot to finish against him. Yeah, just outstanding. Next up, full scale drop. This is against Ty Jerome, I believe. I think I put this in just to showcase how deep Chet was dropping against basically everybody other than Donovan Mitchell. Look at where he's starting his drop here against Mitchell. He's starting it like way out here for the most part because he knows the threat of the shot. And again, look at his positioning in drop. Always in touch distance to the shooter with the ball, always in touch distance to the roller to contest that. Drops his hips perfectly. This is more of a Jalen Williams contest because look at Jalen Williams here. This is, again, textbook from Jalen Williams. He's here. He's ready. When Evan Mobley decides to roll to the basket, he knows he has to be there to tag because that's Lou Dort. Lou has to be attached to the real shooter in Strus. This is the downside of having Okoro on the court. Teams just aren't real worried about him as a shooter, unfortunately. I think he's had a pretty okay start to the season, but teams just don't really treat him as a shooter. This is awesome from Jalen Williams. You're going to get to see Jalen Williams's verticality now too. I mean, look at these. Both of these guys, Jalen Williams, 7'2" wingspan. Chet Holmgren backing up, but still 7'5" wingspan. It's a tough shot to finish. Really, really tough shot. If they make that, you tip your cap to them and move on. Next up. I mean, just look at where Chet starts this rotation here. He is inside the paint when this ball is passed. He's inside the paint with both feet. This ball is going to Max Strus right now. And just look at him cover that ground, right? Shea is just a little bit late getting back in transition. Look at Josh Giddey Help down onto Evan Mobley. I mean, that's just absolutely outrageous. That is what I call ground coverage. When you hear me reference ground coverage on defense, and I do it often on this channel, this is what I'm talking about. That is a full rotation all the way over from the paint to the corner. There are not many guys who can block that shot. There's under 10 of them, I would say, in the NBA. Chet Holmgren is one of them. Next. This is a fun one because this is what I'm talking about again with the cat and mouse game between Donovan Mitchell and Chet Holmgren. I want to just point out this is like the smallest thing in the world, right? I wanted to call out when I think Donovan particularly figures out. So that's Strus going through this play. I think at some point he's going to filter to a corner. But this is just a high ball screen where they're trying to empty out the paint. He filtered to that corner. I'm sorry. I tried to figure out at what point did Donovan realize he is going to shoot this ball against Chet Holmgren? Because high ball screen, first and foremost, like we're talking, what do we think that is? 30 feet from the rim, 32 feet from the rim, right? I think so. You can't see Donovan's face here, but I think this is right where he realizes I'm going to take this. Why does he realize it? Because Chet is on his heels here. Chet is very rarely on his heels. He is very typically on his toes, active. That's why his second jump is so strong. But he just ends up kind of on his heels because you can see he's starting to get into the gather already. He takes that bounce where you can see that he's starting to load up his feet now. I think that's the point where he realizes I'm going to take that shot. Again, these two, Chet against Donovan Mitchell, truly were a blast to watch in this game. They are both absolutely unbelievable at their craft. And I think that this is the point where Chet's feet are back. His momentum looks like it's going backward just a little bit. I think that's where Donovan realizes I'm going to step into this and just go. And by the way, even still, look at that contest. I mean, again, that's one where I don't even think the Thunder are mad at that. Like that's fine defense from Chet, but against Donovan Mitchell, sometimes dudes just make plays. And this is one where he made one. Next up, Mobley. Ball in transition. Chet picks up in the corner on Strus. And again, just on that little first action, just look at the positioning here. Chet's here. He's attached to Mobley, right? This is an empty side ball screen rejection where if these two guys, Chet and Jalen Williams, aren't communicating, this can be a tough guard. But Chet is a very good communicator and very good at making sure to be in the right spot. He cuts off this angle from Strus, but by getting attached to Mobley early, he makes it so that Jalen can stay attached himself. He's going to cut off the angle. And now he's going to stay on Max Strus. And then he's just going to rotate over. This is where Chet starts the rotation. And when I say that, I think Chet, I think I said in the draft guide for 2022 when I did it, that he is the best anticipatory defensive prospect that I've evaluated. This is what I mean. His help side instincts are absolutely outrageous. He is starting his rotation right there. And there he is. He's just ready to get the ball. He's ready to go get it. Now, Shea's got it. There's Giddey. He's going to throw the ball to Chet as a trailer. And now we're going again, right? And now we're just going again. Not many guys who are 7 foot tall can do this. Not many guys who are 7 foot tall that can do this. This is a mismatch on Karis LeVert, and he just recognizes that it's going to be really hard for LeVert to stay in front. Those long strides that Holmgren has mixed with the deceleration. Once he gets you with this little hesitation there, and he's just a little too far on his toes, not too far, but just a very small amount. And then he's going to be able to Euro step around you. Chet is particularly terrific as a driver at realizing when somebody's shoulders are turned like this, and that your chest is not square to Chet as a driver. Here, you'd like to see Karis turned just a little bit, just a very small amount. But those are the margins against Holmgren, right? It's very small margins. It's very hard to stay in front of somebody who is 7 foot tall and who can decelerate like this. As soon as he sees that your shoulders are turned, he's going to step through, he's going to Euro step, and he's going to be able to get through you. Because what this does is it's going to drive LeVert back to open his hips, right? It's really tough. It's really, really tough. This one here, again, drills a three. We're now into the fourth quarter. And what I want to show you again, it's very clear that this is an emphasis for the Thunder. When you have Chet as a trailer and somebody's already there, they're having, again, Jalen Williams here. I don't know if it's always going to be Jalen, but it's going to be somebody. Set what is essentially a little drag screen in transition and try and open this up. And again, Jalen Williams makes contact. Awesome screen. Tough guard. That's a tough guard, because if you are that tall and you can make that shot, yeah, going to be real difficult for opposing teams. Next up, 10 minutes left in the fourth. This is still like a tie game, basically. Pump fake, again, is what gets Chet. The second jump is great here because you can see, you're going to see him rotate early. He's there for Strus. He's not that early on the rotation. This is actually a bit of a late one from Chet. That's why he's a little bit off here. And now, because he's on that back foot still, again, really smart from Evan Mobley. I'm going to cut when Chet turns his back and rotates, right? Typical smart move from a big, or, smart move even from a wing if your man is going to help like that. Mobley's going to pump fake. He's going to get Chet and J-Dub in the air. It's just good work from Evan Mobley. It's just really good. But you can see here, typically Chet is very early on these rotations. Because he's late here, his momentum goes outward toward Mobley. Again, we've talked throughout this video about how good Chet is at contesting with verticality while moving his momentum backward. Because he's just a little late here. He's just a little, for the first time really all game, he's a little late on this rotation. Plants And now Mobley has him beat leverage wise, right? This is a game of leverage, right? Chet's momentum is stopped here. He has to stop and he has to get going back out this way. He can't really go straight up here because he's too deep. That can be a Mobley floater from like right here if he does. If he tries to go backward from this spot, a little too far underneath the rim. So really he has to bring his momentum forward again, and that's not where Chet's going to thrive. Next, this is just incredible scramble defense. Look at him cover all of this ground. I mean, my goodness. Just my goodness. There are not many dudes who can do this, who can cover this much ground at the center position. So I want you to point out, first and foremost, you're going to see him right here. He's calling out for his teammates, right? Again, Chet, good at communicating, calling out who's got ball, who's got ball. Giddy's calling out who's got ball. Hand raised here. I've got ball. Chet is kind of in the middle of two spots here because he wants eventually to match up on Mobley. But because Giddy is stuck on this side of the court, he's going to have to, at the end of the day, end up on this side. Now, this is Jalen Williams here. I believe Jalen Williams is going to make an awesome upward rotation, which allows for a bit of an X out here from Chet to pick up in transition that way. Right? So let's walk through it one more time. Niang catches him with that pump fake. I'm guessing that because that's Niang, that is we want to shut down this 3-point shot no matter what. And then this is just an obscene rotation here. I'm actually not sure if that's typically his rotation. I would have thought that would be a corner rotation from Giddy typically. No, because Evan is right there. No, that's definitely. I mean, this is typically just an open three. Like, because of the way they picked up in transition, this is just going to be an open three here. As my computer freezes. But this is typically just going to be an open three. For Chet to cover that much ground that quickly is absolutely obscene to me. Dort has to help. Dort is guarding Okoro here in theory, but Dort has to help on Strus because of the heavy closeout. Really, you probably wouldn't want Chet to close out that heavy at the end of the day. I think he's kind of making up for his heavy closeout by going cross court here. And yeah, because Mobley is here, yeah, you really can't shoot there with Giddy. This is just awesome. This is outstanding from Chet. These scramble instincts are absurd. That typically just results in a wide open corner three, but that's effort, that's energy, that's all of it right there with Chet. That's why people love him. So here again, we're high. This time he just gets slightly out of position here, right? And you're going to see what I'm talking about. His feet just get a little bit tight because of the pressure that Donovan puts on him with his dribble. Once your feet get there, it's going to be really hard to stay in front of Donovan Mitchell. That's just excellent from Mitchell. Just really, really good there again. Honestly, for the most part, I thought Donovan, you know, did a pretty good job against Chet today in this game. Mitchell scored 43, so I'm not talking out of turn here, saying that Donovan played great. I thought Donovan dealt with the Chet Holmgren impediment better than I've seen most people deal with it before. Just really, really solid. Gets that beautiful little Euro step move. And now the comeback starts. So I think this was 100 to 93 or 100 to 90. Or no, what is this? What ends up happening here? Yeah, this is 100 to 90, 102 to 93. So why did I grab this play? So Chet ends up getting very high here. Giddy has to help down off of, is that, yeah, off of Dean Wade. I'm wondering if this is some weird, like, aggressive defensive call because they're down 7 with 2 minutes left, where Dagnall wants Chet to maybe, like, try and blitz, and he just kinda misjudges here, thinking that Donovan is gonna go to the middle of the court as opposed to the sideline, and he still ends up getting the block. Like, this is just ridiculous again. Like, this is another block for Chet Holmgren, but absolutely ridiculous block for Chet. Unfortunately, Evan Mobley comes, cleans it up. You would love to see Josh Giddey here, who was on Mobley this whole time. He's got him covered here. You'd love to see him get a body on Mobley here to stop this. I don't totally know why he sags off of Mobley there, but he does, unfortunately. What can you do? Small little error. Last play, I think, was so that happens, and maybe a Lou Dort 3 this time. Chet's going to come up and look at where he is in the drop now. His feet are actually above the 3-point line, or right at the 3-point line, we can call it, but his toes are above the 3-point line. And you're just seeing again. So this got called originally as a foul and then got overturned. And because the ball went directly to Jalen Williams, it was Oklahoma City ball. But this is where you're going to see all of the defensive instincts come together with Chet, right? And all of the versatile ways you can use them defensively come together. So this is a higher drop. Dort does a great job getting through what was not an awesome screen from Evan Mobley. They put 2 on the ball because if there is one thing you want to do in this circumstance is get the ball out of this guy's hands. You need to get the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands. I think at that point he had 40. So it's like a soft blitz of 2 on the ball here. Shea does a good job coming in from the corner. Karras lifts from the corner to the wing here, trying to put that pressure on Shea, but Shea does a great job with his positioning to where he steps up here just a little bit, giving Chet that time to recover, right? Because he's there and Mobley sees him kind of out of his peripheral vision. That's just a very slight hesitation, and that gives Holmgren the time to recover back into the play. And that's just special. That's just special from Chet Holmgren. Bodies him up, gets driven backward. Look at how he gets driven backward here. Looks like he's off balance. plants on that right foot, right? Gets his momentum back underneath him. And that's just all length and timing. Look at how he times this from Mobley. Times his jump perfectly. They jump at the exact same time. Look at their feet, same distance off the ground. And that gets overturned, and the ball goes directly to Jalen Williams, which means it's Thunder ball. That is elite from Chet Holmgren. That is why he is going to, in my opinion, win a Defensive Player of the Year award someday. Everything about that play. That is special from Chet Holmgren. And then finally here, second to last one. Maybe third to last one here. No, second to last one. So Jets guarding Mobley. What is this play? This is almost like a high, is this almost like a high twirl where you're trying to get Max Strus to come what looks like it's going to be a double screen here into like almost a reverse Chicago where like you're trying to maybe get him on a dribble handoff going to the corner. Instead, he's going to shoot through here between this screener and this screener. And Mobley hits him, which, in my opinion, was probably not the right decision given how many help defenders there were and given that there are still 21 seconds left on the shot clock there. Because you can see here what this is setting up to be. In my opinion, this is setting up to be like a post split action kind of thing that the Warriors run, where you're going to see this is a post play. Strus comes through here. And then Donovan is getting ready to come around here and take like a dribble handoff, right? I think that is a mistake pass there by Evan Mobley. I get it that you want to hit the quick hitter if you can. I don't think that is there. I just don't. I think Jalen Williams is way too attached to him. And I just don't love the decision. In my opinion, this could be what their read is. Again, I don't live in the Cleveland locker room. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am certain that this is a bad read. But in my opinion, you can see where this play is going, where it's looks like a double screen. Instead, they're going to shoot. Strus is going to shoot through the middle of the action. That almost looks like it's supposed to be a decoy to me, unless he is wide open and Jalen stays attached the whole way. And again, you can see the backside of this action opening up as he throws this pass, where you can see Dean Wade going to set this screen here so he comes around. And if Wade can get attached to Lou Dort, that forces a switch onto Isaiah Joe with Donovan Mitchell, which is a matchup that you want anyway. You want Isaiah Joe on Donovan if it's a good screen by Wade here. So, yeah, I don't love the decision to make that pass from Evan Mobley, unfortunately. Trying to look at JB Bickerstaff here. I'm trying to see if Bickerstaff on the sideline is like a little bit disappointed. Can't tell. JB's in the corner there. He's like up here. Doesn't look mad or anything. So maybe it's possible that wasn't a mistake by Mobley, but just knowing what that action looks like, that'd be a bit of a surprise to me. And now we're getting trailer. We're getting Mobley as a trailer on Chet. And this is to tie the game. This is a 7-footer coming down in rhythm, in transition, canning a game tying 3 with a minute left on the clock. 102, 102. That is sick. That is absolutely sick. There's aren't many guys that can do what he does. Now, the last play that I have here that I want to call out. This is the bucket that put the Thunder ahead for good. It's going to go to Lou Dort. Lou Dort is going to drive. This is a really sharp little pump fake from Dort down to the corner here. Looks that way. And because he looks that way, Dean Wade comes up. Strus feels like he has to close to the corner instead of closing to the wing. That results in Dort getting leverage to get to the basket. Now, typically, you would have Evan Mobley here, Defensive Player of the Year finalist, waiting. You would expect that he's going to be able to go and get this shot, right? Look at how he doesn't fully commit to just go up and try and block this shot, right? Look at how his foot plants there, thinking I might have to close back out to Chet. So I can't commit to this fully as a rim protector because there's a chance that I might need to go and close out. That's the stress that having a 7-foot shooter puts on your defense. It ends up being a late contest, but it's a late contest from Evan Mobley here. And it's because, and you can watch the way his foot plants right there. You can see he's thinking, I might have to get back out and rotate. You know, it might be here, and then Evan maybe has to X out up to the wing, up to Shea. But that's the threat that having this guy on the court, having just made the last possession a game-tying trailer 3 as a 7-footer, that's the threat that Chet Holmgren puts on the defense. Outstanding game from Chet Holmgren. Super fun game to break down. Super fun game to talk about. This was an unbelievable Chet Holmgren performance. This is why I think he is going to be, a potential All-NBA player that might end up winning a Defensive Player of the Year at some point, and probably will, in my opinion. He's going to be ready to go from the jump, is what this game proved to me. I don't know if he's not going to be an all-star this year, probably. They just have too many dudes on this team that are absolutely unbelievable. But at some point, that's where his future lies. He is going to be an all-star. As long as he stays healthy, the sky is the limit for Chet Holmgren. Okay, thanks for watching for an hour. This has been Game Theory. Go hit the subscribe button on this video. Go hit the subscribe button on this channel. Hit the like button. I will be back at some point this week to do probably Jalen Johnson. I was thinking about doing Damian Lillard at some point as well, but I'll decide and sort through all of that at some point. Until next time, we'll talk soon.